Hey everyone, welcome back to the European Summer Playoffs here in the Challenger Series. It's time for the second game in today's quarterfinal showdown between Unicorns of Love and Gamers 2. G2 leads 1-0 after a very interesting composition, very team fight focused, 2 threats, 3 tanks.
Yeah, and they used that to their advantage because Gamers 2 ended up winning almost every team fight that game unless UOL started off on the right foot with a pick, which was what their composition was looking for.
Yeah.
So I really think the Gamers 2 played to their strengths, and especially their newest member, Rydell. He ended up going 0-2 and 22.
Yeah.
And he led to a ton of just initiates that were complete, just catch them off guard, destroy their backline. It was like, Power of Evil, he's right there. Headbutt Pulverize. He's completely shredded, can't even zone yes.
Yeah, and that's one of the difficulties of playing a champion like Syndra is she's a great early laner, and off of the back of her, she got kills on Ocelot twice by like level 8, but immobile can be hard to play around in team fights. The Flash Alistair initiates were amazing. JWoww was, of course, also ridiculously strong. That Maokai, 96% kill participation. The front line could not be removed, and they just kept moving on forward, getting team fight after team fight.
Yeah, and it's really something that I thought about in Champion Select, where the Maokai didn't go until second rotation blue side.
Yeah.
It was really kind of strange how it was back and forth, and then he didn't get picked up until that point. Because I thought he was going to be the #1 pick in this match.
Yeah, I think he is kind of the #1 top laner right now, especially in 4-13 with the Lulu, the Gragas, those guys getting a couple of nerfs for themselves. And you got to figure that Maokai's days are probably numbered, to be completely honest, as the #1 champion. I believe there's, if I recall correctly, there's one more patch until Worlds. I think 4-14 is the last one. I could just be wrong. I actually have no reason to say this because I don't know for sure. But I know we're getting closer to Worlds as time goes on. You got to start honing in on what your champions are, and as teams load up, we're getting close to what those balance changes are going to look like. But yeah, I think Maokai's incredible. He's a great frontline tank. The difficulty for Unicorns of Love, I saw that game, was they couldn't force their own game plan. We talked about G2 wanting to go for team fights. They did a really good job of that. UOL could not find the split push advantage. The Aurelia pick into the Maokai is like, okay, if this is going to work, she's got to win that fight. But Frozen Heart second, shut down the 1v1. I saw no progress from Vizicsacsi the entire game, and that is a really big issue if you can't separate the Maokai from the team.
Yeah, and the fact that Maokai was always in it, the 96% kill participation,
yeah,
just speaks to how present JWoww was in all of these fights that they ended up winning. So JWoww, if he has another performance like that, he's definitely going to shoot up there as one of those better top laners, especially with the adjustment. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, and JWoww just played it really well. He's honestly been a great player for the team overall. You talked about him being an unsung hero. I've been playing more of a tank up here, and that's been pretty glorious. So to me, Unicorns of Love, you either deal with the Maokai by picking it or banning it away, or you find a way to play around it. You either get a split pusher that works, you let Vizicsacsi get those one-on-ones, and I think he's the type of player that wants to play one-on-one battles. Like his top most played, Shyvana, Jax, Trundle, Aurelia, Ryze. Like, he wants to fight somebody and just deal damage overall. His picks in the Challenger scene have been Aurelia, Shyvana, Jax, Shyvana, Trundle, Aurelia. He wants to 1v1 people. If he can't win the 1v1s because of who he's facing against, that is an issue.
Yeah, and the fact that there isn't really somebody that people have discovered that deals with Maokai incredibly well just yet. It's really kind of the jury's still out on that one. There's Kassadin. Can't see his portrait, but I assure you he's banned.
Yeah, a little off-center, but it's going to be okay. Kassadin, Nidalee still banned away. The Lucian goes away from Gamers 2. They did first pick that champion the first time around for Yuki. A lot of value being placed on the Lucian for G2. They know better than to give that one away, but interesting thing is Unicorns of Love had to ban Kassadin themselves, so it's not a champion that Power People plays. That actually frees up Gamers 2 to run 3 bans.
Yeah, that's true. They can go ahead and just throw those 3 out there. I don't know if they would actually ban the Maokai, because their red side, it might be first picked up by Unicorns of Love, seeing the performance that JWoww had on that. So we'll have to see the Gragas being banned away. Despite Gragas getting a nerf on 413, still throw one out at him.
They still care about that one for JWoww here. The question is, does Maokai get looked at? Both these guys have been playing it a bit, and still look, you obviously have seen JWoww's Maokai play, and it was great. Do they respect it from Vizicsacsi? I feel like if Gamers 2 get the option, they would pick that first round.
Yeah, they would definitely pick that as quickly as possible. Yeah, they got to think about that last ban there.
Morgana away from Hylissang.
thinking it's a Maokai. I would expect Maokai to be the first pick here because of what you've seen from JWoww. The fact that they put a priority on that in second rotation.
Yeah.
Like their second pick after locking in the Lucian.
It's the only thing less important to them than Lucian.
Yeah.
And that's gone, so you know Gamers 2 would want that.
And the fact it did so well, too.
Yeah.
I keep touching on that over and over again. But you have to take that away. If Unicorns of Love, basically, if they have any common sense and they were in that last game,
I think
even
they were
watching that last game, that's what you would think. Yes.
So Maokai does come through for Vizichapta here in the top lane, unless Gilius really wants to play in the jungle, which I doubt. So now Gamers 2 going to make their choices off of this one. The Maokai pick, just the right choice. UOL can absolutely go for a standard team fighting type team. Thing is, UOL, I think their biggest strength still is the fact that they play the map pretty smart. They seem to be... The thing is, they're so willing to play team fights that doesn't always fit their composition. But I think the fact that they are grab champions that do want the team fight just helps them play into their own strengths.
Speaking of team fighting,
Yep.
you have a late
Tristana.
game Tristana. Well, we saw last time how well Tristana did against Maokai.
True.
Wasn't very well.
That's absolutely the case, man. But maybe JWoww knows a way to keep Vizichapta down, or Ocelot plays something that can get rid of him. You never know. Gilius going to lock in Rengar.
Getting rid of 80 carries. Okay, we'll lock in Rengar.
Yeah. Well, here's the weird thing, though, is Rengar doesn't fit that same mold as frontline tank that that Maokai kind of does.
Yeah,
but
you would think they would go for something like a J4 to synergize with the Maokai, keep people locked up in that zone. But they are going to go with the early game pressure to try and set up their late game, because it is a core key for some early game here against the Tristana. It is the Rengar for some early ganks, level 6, and just getting to that backline and locking them up. Tristana is going to have a really hard time against that. Depending on Gilius' build, I think he'll probably go CDR here, like most Rengars are going.
I think it's the right build.
Yeah, they're going for that tanky transition build. But when you do have a Maokai on their team, it does free you up to go for a little bit more damage.
It does. You got to see how it pays out, though, because Tristana is still going to be this crazy 6-item champion by the end of it all. And as a jungler, your income is a little bit lower, so you have to kind of respect. If you go for like a Cutlass or a Yomu's Ghostblade, you are very much going to feel the pain of Tristana's attacks, though. So something to keep in mind for Gilius. Gamers who are going to make their choices. They're hovering on Aurelia right now for JWoww. Will we see the inverse matchup here? See if JWoww is going to win this fight. They are. So both teams opted to face Aurelia against the Maokai.
Yeah, I've been hearing that is the counter matchup, but I've yet to see it completely succeed and play their win conditions. I've seen Aurelia's try to split push, but then the Maokai just clears the wave and then TPs into a team fight.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, I'm much better than you in a team fight. And then the Aurelia sits there like hitting the turret, maybe, or teleporting in and following.
Yeah.
But that's really just what ends up happening in that dynamic. Maybe we'll get a masterclass here from JWoww on how to play Aurelia into Maokai.
We just might, man. JWoww is definitely a good player. He had a phenomenal game 1. His game 2 could be just as good. A lot of the same things coming through for Gamers 2, though. Lee Sin still for Morden. JWoww to get that Tristana steal. Unicorns of Love going to make a couple of repeat picks as well. Power of Evil going to keep playing the Syndra for himself. Hillsong's Thresh did get taken, but Braum seems just fine for him.
Yeah, despite Vardag's being in that middle area right there and Power of Evil right below him, they're still in their respective roles of Power of Evil mid and Vardag's AD carry.
Yeah, after Champs, I'm sure we'll just remake the game and put him back where they're supposed to be. Mid lane, Lulu comes out for Ocelot, though. Seems like he doesn't want any more of this Ahri garbage coming through, but this keeps G2 at a 2-threat lineup, just a lot less tank stats to put it through. So I feel like even more they actually rely on this Aurelia winning her matchup there. Unicorns of Love honestly look pretty good at team fighting overall. They've got plenty of pick potential on top of that one, but man, the Maokai Braum front line is plenty big.
Yeah, they're going to be able to negate a lot of damage, basically damage reduction coming in again. I'm surprised that the Alistar wasn't picked up by Gamers 2 again, but now he's just trying to protect the Tristana here. They have a Lulu, they have a Thresh to keep her safe. There's a lot of, when the team fight breaks out, Gamers 2 are going to have a lot of options to keep Yuki safe. And if he farms like he did last game, he's in an unstoppable position as Tristana. That's
true, man. We got to see what he can even be stopped by, because you got to consider there's still the fact that Rengar plus Syndra can get in there, but you've got the Lulu to keep him alive. So there's going to be a battle of scaling here, definitely. If you can get too big for your opponents, then life becomes painful. for the opposition, but you got to see, man, how the gold stacks up and how the fights go. Unicorns of Love need to win these 2 games to keep their hopes of LCS alive.
And Gamers 2 need to just win 1 more, and then they get into the semifinals and have about a 75% chance of making it to the LCS promo tournament and also seeing the fruits of their labor for these last few months. The fruits of their gaming career.
That's true. Will they ripen or will they go sour?
Ugh, get rotten, have some worms in them.
Yep. Become fertilizer.
It's a clever way of saying that.
But you know what? This Lee Sin player wants more than that. He wants the pro life.
Yeah, he wants an ocelot. That's recognition for his play. Boom.
You keyed in on that really well.
Oh man, are we gonna keep doing this?
Yep.
You're just gonna take this for a ride?
That was next.
Wow.
Oh no, you can't go twice.
I had to steal.
That was definitely next, by the way.
No, don't look at Vizichachi's name. There's no way you'll ever use that.
Yeah, really? Are you sure? Because what you just said there was really Vizichachizi. Lame. No, that doesn't count. That's not even good. You see, puns, they can be a power of evil, but I consider them to be a power of life.
Oh, just Freak consumes puns for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Mm-hmm.
It's the power of life. I feel like they're the root of all evil.
That would be Maokai.
You're on a roll.
Call me butter.
I actually like that one a lot.
Hylissang and Vardags, man, they picked the early game composition here. Corky, the phosphorus bomb, the bullying, plenty strong. Lucian was banned, went for something else early game. Now can they keep Rydell and Yuki down? Play in Hylissang, the chunk 1. JWoww already fighting Vizichachi. Man, that Maokai really wants to kill Aurelia here.
Level 2, all in Maokai. Why not?
2. Same time for both these bot lanes, though.
Start the trade. Ooh.
Oh, the hook lands into Vardogs, though. In comes Hylissang, says, don't you frickin' dare. Gatling gun used by Vardogs, but he doesn't get much damage down. Gamers 2 definitely win that trade.
Yeah, they win that trade very early on, especially considering it's a Tristana right now with the less damage or the lower damage on his explosive shot active. Still comes out on top of that trade, and Vardags has his potion chugging right now, and Yuki's in a much better spot.
And he's still got his own potion as well, so life's painful. More than waiting around Vizichachi to play more aggressive with Gilead's going to go counter gank this. Here comes the visibility. Stun comes out. Can Vizichachi stay alive? Puts in the Q, tries to dodge behind minions to get away from the Q. In comes the root, though, but the Q lands from Lee Sin. Will he dive in? Yes, the flash engage, the knockback, though. JWoww goes down, and Gilead is going to chase out Morden. Vizichachi just barely lives.
Barely living, using his passive very well there, and also his flash to escape and not have the follow-up damage of Morden. Gilead's coming in with a counter gank at the right time.
Wow, JWoww immediately TPs back. He does not want to miss this wave under the turret, but it's double Dorans with no potions for JWoww. That is a risky lane to be a part of here, as Vizichachi has more CS and the assist. Doran's shield, ward, couple of potions. I feel like Vizichachi is set up to win this lane.
Yeah, Vizichachi on that Maokai with the assist under his belt is in a really good spot, having 3 potions, 3 HP potions on top of just his passive. He is ready to rock. He's ready to just be good in this matchup.
He's already got part of a level as well, so JWoww's got to be plenty careful on this one. But that wave is right in front of the turret. Looks like it's going to be a little bit hard for Vizichachi to CS here. Vardogs and Hylissang, equal in CS, down in potions. Gamers 2 could be winning that matchup. Morden looks top lane, will run through a ward while doing this.
Yeah, but look at how far up Vizichachi is, and he doesn't have flash.
And he doesn't have a jungler either. This could not be good for the man. Where's the W? Goes in towards Morden. Good damage. That Q is sure to land. The red buff there as well. What good is the ward if it's not going to keep you alive? Oh my god, no.
He tried to give it over to JWoww, so he didn't complete the kill, and Vizichachi gets away with his passive.
I feel like I've seen that before. Vizichachi running away from like way too many people and yet getting out.
The Aurelia. So good last game. I'm still gushing over that one.
Another moral victory for Vizichachi. 2-time MVP with his best of 3.
Self-proclaimed escape MVP.
Self-proclaimed. I call that one.
You're getting
my jurisdiction.
Freak MVP.
Yep.
Of escaping for the game.
It's the PMVP.
Freak MVP.
Yep. That's what it is, man. Ocelot, though, once again having a really rough time in this mid lane. Power of Evil up 45, 46 to 28. And again, Ocelot is going to need to get bailed out or wait for team fights here. Seems like every game starts this way for Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, it's true. They won the last game, though, so if it's... the late game is the same.
True.
Gamers 2 are in a good spot. Right now, though, Morden shows himself mid. Power People hit 6. And they also have Gilius off on the side. Stealing camp.
Ooh, he's level 6. Ocelot's gone.
He's gone. You're absolutely right. Gets picked off, doesn't have his ultimate yet, and he gets ignited on top of that. Morden was right there. Kind of a false sense of security getting stunned under the turret.
Uh-oh, careful. Hillsong. Oh, gonna block up the damage. Just fine and dandy here, but still they are down, and CS's bot lane is not winning when it was maybe supposed to there. Summoner Heal burned early to try to keep his teammate alive. Wanted to hit that before the ignite came down.
This back and forth. Unicorns of Love, they just destroy the early game. They did it last game too. They got about a 3,000 gold lead right out of the gate off of kills and dragon control. And then they just didn't transition it into an actual lead later on because of their team composition and their win conditions compared to the other team. They didn't play to what their strategy was from champ select.
So now I got to see what UOL can do with this comp, because you got this weird mix of assassination and picks that, to be honest, didn't work out very well the first time around. And then Maokai for some teamfight assurance, so maybe it'll just pan out exactly just by having a kind of a generalist team here.
Yeah.
Gilius waiting for the red buff respawn. He will, I believe, hit level 6 off this, and that might just be his ticket into this game. Longsword picked up early on. Now that could be going towards Wriggles. That could be maybe a Brutalizer for some CDR. Like it's blue buff. Gilius is 6, but has very little health right now.
Is he going to look for a gank right off the bat?
Looks like yes.
There's a pink ward.
Did not get seen on the way in, but Morden is right around the sides. Also says, hey, there's a kitty. Backs off.
Meow. And then he's gone. It's just a cute little kitty. It's injured.
It's invisible.
It's half HP as well, so now Gilius is going to get bullied in his jungle by Morden, who saw him run this way.
This is good by Morden. He's going to spot Gilius, but he's got all his ferocity. Can he dodge the Q? He can see him. Huh? Oh, he gets it.
Oh, he got him.
Heals up, gets kicked back. He's trying to get away. The ward up. Is he in range? He's not just yet.
E now.
Oh, the E is going to land. Morden gets the solo kill. Nicely done. Hillsong hooked up. Good damage comes through. Puts down the Unbreakable.
Wow, so just the aggression here. You want to invade a Rengar every time you possibly can, because you'll come out on top, especially if he's half HP like that in the jungle. That's going to be rewarding him with a kill and a blue buff.
Man, beautiful stuff now, man. Gamers 2 finding the way back in. It's going to be the blue buff steal. They already got their own onto Ocelot, which means their red should be secure as well.
What also means that Power of Evil isn't going to have his own blue, so he's going to have a little more trouble in the mono department here. Don't know how much he can bully Ocelot around when he has a blue.
He's going Morel and Omicron as well. So right now, 76-52. It's basically a 25 minion lead. I want to see how it changes over the next 2 minutes if that blue buff ends up mattering. Blue Chalice versus maybe Morel and Omicron. Quick recall from the bot lane. Now, these guys do have different item goals here is the funny thing. So while one wants a Sheen and a Phase, the other wants a BF sword.
Vizichachi has no mana. I don't know why he's still fighting JWoww. Are we about to see Aurelia kill Maokai?
Aurelia about to kill Maokai. One shot away. Oh, the knockback of the Q.
Same thing again.
Yep. This one was more expected, I suppose, but Vizichachi having a fairly rough time in this matchup now.
Yeah, and the fact that Aurelia is now bullying around the Maokai with pretty much the same items is big. Gilius, another failed ultimate there.
That was a really bad timing on it, though. Also, had already wave cleared, and no one sticks around to hit turrets anymore in the mid lane. Without backup, you never do it.
They're on some more qualifiers.
I mean, to be fair, turrets do go down in this game, but I want to make sure I didn't say the wrong thing.
Exactly. I know.
I know. I know.
Sometimes you'll say something and you're like, but there's actually more to it. More to it.
Yeah. There's more than what I said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like nobody hits turrets in the mid lane. in the early game.
Without backup.
Exactly.
We're good.
Yeah, boom.
Eventually, it was qualified.
If you had said nobody hits turrets anymore, well, it's out of style.
It's true, man.
Did they see that
Only
ward
hits-
in the back?
I don't think it's
no.
range.
I think it's a little out of the pink ward range in the back. Yep.
Oh, no, it is.
No.
It is. Yuki can kill it. Dragon leveled up.
I'm surprised they didn't go for that immediately. May have been trying to.
They were afraid of getting picked from over a wall or something.
Ah. Getting the ward coverage around. Oh, so gonna pick over a wall.
Hylissang gonna be a little bit sad for this one. Knocked around, the box comes down, but can he stay alive?
Warden's there.
Dodge away from the Q, but there's the kick coming in. Double Q's gonna land. Hylissang cannot ulti in time. He goes down. Gamers 2 finding another pick. Man, they're down within 700 gold.
Doesn't put his ulti on cooldown, so that's kind of the saving grace of that. But at the same time, Gamers 2, they're gonna pick themselves up a dragon and maybe take a gold lead here. We'll have to see. The contest from UOL is right off on the side.
It's pretty good, and that is a nice pickup. Good attempt on the rocket from Corki, but it is a nice pickup there. Gamers 2 now pull the gold lead. They are getting these picks in the middle of the map. JWoww also bullying Vizichachi
There's no flash
around.
available now.
There's the stun. The W is up. There's the ulti pop. Vizichachi trying to stay alive. Is healing as much as he can. One hit from dead. Vizichachi
hit
on the
him
other
backwards.
side of this one.
Vizichachi ended up using the arcane smash and hitting JWoww
Yeah.
on the other side of him. So he actually had to back up. I'm surprised they didn't continue the brawl.
Catalyst versus Phage. He is close to leveling,
Yes,
and there's
he
not
levels.
much mana on JWoww.
If he levels, then JWoww will actually lose whatever trade he begins. The Lantern backwards for the fake out here.
Oh, nothing picked up, but
Morden's
Morden's here.
top.
Uh-oh. All right, there's the level. He's going to start gaining health and mana, but there's already a jungler en route. Going to jump in. There's a W on in. He's got nowhere to go. JWoww claims the kill, and then Morden for an assist.
Yep, and at the same time, that may have been a communication, though, because they threw a Lantern backwards down bottom, which may have made the bottom lane say, the jungler's here, the jungler's actually top.
That's true, man. Unfortunately for Vizichachi, this is multiple times. He's warded his own lane. He's got those wards down, but Morden comes in anyway. You can't get all the entrances. And Vizichachi having a really rough time in this matchup. He lost it last, well, I don't want to say lost, I guess. He really was doing, I think, fairly well early on in both cases.
Oh, Morden. To the side, they root him.
Gets the root,
Stun.
gets the stun. Power of Evil shows up with the ulti as well. Wardhop does not do enough for him. Kill is picked up by Power of Evil, so Unicorns of Love, still signs of life. 200 gold game.
Yeah, and Ocelot tried to run up and use his Wild Growth, but he wasn't in range just yet, and Power of Evil gets the inside track and gets the kill. Man, 40 CS difference between Power of Evil and Ocelot. Power of Evil is low on mana, though, and he has to be back after this wave.
And that was after the blue buff trade, too.
Yeah.
No blue buff increased the kill lead, increased the CS lead. Power of Evil, obviously an amazing laner on Syndra. But as we saw last game, Ocelot did turn it around in team fights. Maybe we'll see that again right here. The bot lane holding equal as well, despite the fact that you picked a more late game oriented team on the side of Gamers 2.
Gilius is here. He has his ultimate, but at the same time, he's going to want another charge of ferocity before he goes in.
I don't think he'll get it.
Yeah, because this bottom lane is very slippery. You can get a Thresh Lantern out, you can get a Persona. Many ways to escape. Blah. Excuse me.
The ward's going to spot Ocelot grabbing the blue buff there. Another time around 1840. Hook's going to not quite land. UOL playing exactly at the right range to turn around and get away from Thresh.
Gilius.
Can he finally get Ocelot? Does not get spotted. Gets the exclamation point. There's the root in place. Now, do they have the damage output available? Ulti popped as well. The flash on backwards. One more Q is going to do it. Power of Evil claims the kill. That was 2 roots in a row from Gilius. That was nice.
Man, Power of Evil and Gilius, the synergy in the mid lane. Gilius finally gets a gank off. That is successful with his ultimate up that mid lane. Punishes Ocelot, and Power of Evil just blowing him up again. It's really been the bane of Ocelot all series.
And JWoww's been the bane of Vizichachi. Q's going to knock him back, and you can see Maokai is able to survive the matchup with his Q, but you can see getting pushed around quite a lot now. Morden, be a bit careful. More Qs do land. Power of Evil, no stun left, though.
Just barely escaping.
Ulti pop, they want this gank though. Vizichachi gonna teleport in. Lantern's gonna maybe keep them safe. And a nice knockback from Tristana as well. The big rocket misses Hylissang very low on health. Can they win this fight? Anyway, Summoner He'll use Ignitus on this one kill picked up. Yuki jumps to the wall, and now in comes Aurelia. 1-for-1 supports both die. Nice G-Man slow, good kickback by Morden, but the slow comes out from Power of Evil, hops to a minion. Just barely gets out. They can't quite get the kill.
The sapling!
Oh! Flash trade right there.
Wow. So the Missile Barrage almost hitting, but this is going to give them a turret in the bottom lane for UOL.
So Unicorns of Love, they find the counter gank in this bottom lane, basically, and that will be a turret picked up. Dragon's still very far away, so that won't be picked up anytime soon, but first turret of the game, Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, there's so much ward coverage here across all the objectives. You were talking about the Dragon, and a lot of wards in the inventory for Gamers too. They're ready to set up for the next objective, but I don't know how well they can fight it with their composition and the state that it's in. 50 CS down in mid, and the fact that they're 14 CS down over an early game bully like Vardags on Corki. He hasn't backed in a while.
He's close to Triforce here, I would
Very
assume.
close to Triforce.
He got, I believe, solo local gold for the turret, so 250 for that. The CS, the extra assist. I think the fact that he's getting double golems means he's really close to a break point, like the Triforce being done. I assume he has enough after that goes down.
If he can get that before the Dragon is up, it'll be absolutely crucial. Yeah, he's backing right now despite there being a push on his turret.
That's fine. It's overall going to be worth it if they can get the turret pressure actually, or the Dragon pressure actually there. Problem is, Yuki got a full wave and 250 for this turret, meaning he's really close to IE.
Here's the thing,
just
though.
have it.
40 seconds on Dragon. Vardag's back. He has his Trinity Force in hand, and he's heading towards that objective. Now, Hylissang, he's going to try to ward up this area and just set it up for the fight.
Well, there's IE, though. Both AD carries hit their first item. Thing is, this is better for Corki. Power of Evil, honestly, ahead of Ocelot right there. More ability power, has Magic Pen. He can threaten anyone on the Gamers 2 lineup. Nobody has any MR aside from the Athenes. Only difficulty is Vizichachi is relying on basically base values to do anything.
Power of Evil can kind of leverage this mid lane, the 3-0 Syndra. Power of Evil last game was around 4-0, 4-1, and he didn't really put it to full use. Now we're seeing the Dragons live. Which team is going to get in there and make this fight happen for them? If Gilius gets a gank right before this, oh god!
Ocelot gets a stun in the face, he gets the ulti as well, and he just frickin' implodes right there. Wild Growth, not nearly enough, and that is complete control.
Yep, and even with all those wards that we see on the map from Gamers 2, they aren't going to be able to contest this Dragon because they lost their mid laner Ocelot. And the damage from Power of Evil is just absolutely absurd right now.
Look on Hylissang, though, into the box as well. Nice play, the knockback from Trist as well. Nowhere for Braum to go except back towards his team. They kill Morden, and he actually stays alive while Dragon goes down. Unicorns of Love just crushed another fight.
Wow, Power of Evil ended up being in range for the stand behind me, and he just made it so that Hylissang could get out. Didn't even use his exhausted yet.
Wow, beautiful stuff. So, 2 turrets, the Dragon as well. Another fight, Unicorns of Love. They're actually going for mid-tier 2
Trinity
as well.
Force is going to chunk this a little bit, too.
Oh, yeah. Gilius got to be careful, though. Actually forced to flash away. He was very afraid of the damage. Ocelot shows up for some wave clear. Good spam back and forth, though. This is a series on our hands, guys. 3,000 gold difference. Unicorns of Love ahead.
Yeah, and Gamers 2, they won the first game, but it was still back and forth, almost an hour-long game. And now we're in it 18 minutes. He's going to go after the entire team of Gamers 2. Power of Evil, really bold. He does have his ulti, though.
And look at this. Vizichachi has managed to just scrape together in the, or scrape on by in this top lane. Getting some attacks down to the turret. Saplings for scouting. JWoww has to walk back into the lane. Vizichachi might actually get the turret here.
Yeah, despite all of the little efforts that Gamers 2 have put into this top lane, and the fact that JWoww's almost killed Vizichachi multiple times, it gets abandoned and it gets picked up. Vizichachi with the Rod of Ages too, starting to scale up.
And look at this. They've got 3 wards in the upper jungle. They're pulling Rengar up as well. 5-man push, Unicorns of Love. Gamers 2 weren't ready for this. Morden and Yuki still heading up across this map. How good is Ocelot's wave clear? Decent.
They see one of them coming up. At the same time, Gilius has his ultimate available, has 5 ferocity. He's ready to pick somebody off in the jungle, and they're going to start collapsing. There's the ulti.
Oh, Morden, you are alone right there. Root's going to land across the wall. Can he get the lantern in time? Yes, he can. Morden gets away. The red buff does get stolen by UOL, though. The thing is, they can go back to top lane. There's only Irelia here.
Yeah, that's going to be another big pickup for them. They might get this turret.
They're supposed to.
They're splitting mid, too. There's 2 members mid trying to deal with Power of Evil. Meanwhile, down bottom, Yuki's free-farming as Tristana.
He's going to recall back just now. Trist has the Zeal now in inventory. Hillsong gonna make his way back through the jungle there. A couple of wards go down. Unicorns of Love not pressing their advantage too terribly hard now. Trying a little bit harder for ward control first. And they can make their play a little bit later. I'm actually a little bit surprised top lane tier 2 didn't go down though.
Yeah, they didn't stay around to pressure that. And the fact that Yuki is now at 179 CS on Tristana. If he hits 2 items, he'll be a little bit stronger than Vardag's at 2 items. Actually, it's arguable. It's back and forth. It'll be pretty even. But,
oh, wow.
What?
The catch, though, was a hook into everything.
Power of Evil just picked off. Don't know if this will be a repeat of last game, because Power of Evil was really high up there and really fed.
Yep.
But then it came down to Rydell picking him off over and over again with the assistance of the rest of his team.
Unfortunately for G2, though, Rydell is taking those kills, and Thresh, I feel like he's one of the less gold-using supports out there, which could be a bit of a risk then. Rydell can get a bit tankier here, but I don't know if you're going to ever have to hit a Thresh anyway.
Yeah, if we're talking about gold-using supports, it's like Zyra,
Karma,
Morgana a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Thresh is definitely not in that vein. He just likes to have Moby Boots, Sightstone,
and McHale's.
And that's pretty much it, and then he's good to go. This is really just
flash play into box.
Ooh, flash play into box, into a hook. Didn't even break a wall of the box. But it was just for comfort.
Look cool, though.
Yeah.
It was a big targeting style. Like, hey, he's in the middle of this thing. Hit this guy.
He can't move unless he flashes, and he didn't have flash available. It is just now coming back up.
Okay, Unicorns of Love, they've got to be careful, man. Their gold lead is now back under 2,000. Dragon up in 2 minutes. Does Unicorns of Love just play for the team fights? Do they play that 50-minute slugfest waiting for Maokai to come fully online? Do they keep playing aggressively looking for picks? They do have control. They should have control. They could play top jungle. More than just face check to brush. Like, those are brushes that UOL could always be standing.
That's true. The sweepers, war control from UOL is definitely in their favor, like it usually is in their games. And I'm actually really glad that we're seeing this type of team from UOL, because it's them kind of flexing their muscles, saying, even though we lost to NIP 2-0 2 times, they're still a team that can give Gamers 2, the third place team every time, a run for their money.
Yes, they can. You're seeing this right here. Visitachi flashes on in, and in comes the Rengar as well. Big damage into JWoww. Flashes away. Nice kick for Morten. Hits them both, actually. JWoww does disengage. Flash trade.
Everybody back up to this top lane. Turret's getting chunked.
Unicorns of Love are there, and JWoww is forced to heal, so UOL using the health bar lead. Pushing in on this one. Vardag's getting some damage down. Has to respect the hook. They back out.
Guess that wasn't so much a chunk, but a whittle down. Chunk is usually like, oh god, it's gone. It's kind of
not as rapid this time.
Chipping away at it very, very quickly. Rapid chipping.
Yes.
We're going to see a little bit more of that, and the turret might go down right now.
Good wave from Ocelot. Nice little slow comes out of Hillsong, but that will be top lane tier 2 going down. 2,700 gold lead now. Unicorns of Love are playing their aggressive game pretty well.
Yeah, and this style that they're playing is basically what they were doing last game. Can they continue to get these objectives and not give any of them up and play to their team composition's strengths? Because this team composition is going to fall.
Oh no, Power of Evil got hooked again. He is kicked back. He's going to go down. When will this stop happening?
It's Dragon.
Yep.
For Gamers 2. Off of that pick, that's what happened last time. Power of Evil, the fact that Unicorns of Love have so much vision on their team, it seems like Power of Evil doesn't function appropriately without all that vision in his team's favor. As soon as they lack the vision, he's going to get picked.
Yeah. And it's just unfortunate. I mean, Power of Rydell for sure. That guy is doing so well at getting these picks and setting up these fights and, you know, removing the mid laner from the battle. And that is something that Unicorns of Love have to respect a little bit more. It actually really burned them in game 1. But maybe off that G2 recall, off them taking out Dragon, you will have this short amount of time where they can push down. They know JWoww is bot lane. They have to be maybe careful of a flank, though. This will be the turret following, but a lot of health is being lost. Can they survive the disengage now? Maka comes through, but are they really going to battle this? They are far away from having 5 members. They are on the front line. A 5v4 has begun, and there comes the engage. Visitachi taking a whole lot of damage, and Rengar pushed around. Gilius trying to run away. Can he survive? Looks like yes. Turret goes down, no fatalities.
Yep, and Gamers 2, they cannot continue this push because Power of Evil is now back. He has his ultimate, he has his flash, he's ready to rumble, and it's good on them to back up. JWoww is actually going to try to test this, but no.
Unicorns of Love, man, that was risky, but they went for it. They knew they had at most 4 people. G2 did not punish them for it here, so it remains a 2,000 gold game.
Another flash hook from Rydal there. That guy just loves hook champions, and he loves making aggressive plays. He's a playmaking support, is what I've learned about Rydal in 4 games of watching him.
Yes.
Is that he will always try to make the play, which is good for Gamers 2.
Yeah.
They've usually had a more reserved style.
But the aggression does seem to work out for them.
I think the mixture definitely works for them.
Yeah, I agree.
Right now, though, they're kind of... Because, like, if they were in this situation and they didn't have somebody trying to make plays, then
they get walked over.
Exactly. They would just slowly kind of keel over and then lose the match. But last game, we saw the exact same thing. They were behind, and then they came back. I think Rydal's actually a pretty good addition in terms of what he brings to the team.
Yeah, he's doing good things for these guys overall.
And then basically what Dude was a babysitter for Yuki. So it made Yuki shine a little more. And then Yuki would carry the game. If that lane was shut down, I don't know how many plays they could have made.
So instead, they're going for the mid-game playmaking, and honestly, I do like it quite a bit. Gamers 2 able to rely on a lot of members here. Ocelot, second game in a row, he's been held down early on, but he's always seemed to find a way back in with team fights.
Granted, it is a double-edged sword, depending on the play that he makes. And right now, speaking of plays, is Yuki going to be the one? No.
No, they go over to the top side there. Morden does get rooted up, gets knocked back there by the Lee Sin kick. Now they will disengage. In comes Aurelius, the unbreakable shield. They'll keep it Hillsong incredibly durable
TP
for him.
the fight.
And now JWoww's going to explode. Nice ulti comes out, but he's still alive actually. Finally goes down 1 for 0, 2 for 0 as the Tristana also falls. Rydal running away through the box walls. He's going to stay safe in this one, but a 2-0 for UOL. In comes Power of Evil. In comes the flash stun, and that will be a kill picked up by Vardogs, 3-0.
Gilius, they go straight after Morden, and they pick up some great kills. The TP right on target, and this might be a Baron for UOL.
Wow, to come back there for the mid-game, just jiving into the enemy jungle and saying, you guys are spread out, let's pick up a kill here. Unicorns of Love, 27.5 minutes. They're going to take this Baron, no contest.
Yep, nobody even around. Morden is just going to concede the Baron to Unicorns of Love, and they are going to be able to have those temporary combat stats, a higher boost in their gold, and just an all-around good time and good window to make some plays. He actually misses the first bola, but then he gets the second one onto Morden. And man, the TP in here was really big. Vizichachi zones everybody out because of where the TP was, and then he goes over the wall away from the danger area, which allows them to just come back into the fight, but then they peel right into Power of Evil, who picks up Yuki and then destroys Rydal right afterwards. Big chunks of damage in his flash.
Yeah, Yuki kited that fight really weird. They actually had decent ward coverage, Gamers 2, in the jungle. They had one right by that red buff brush. And as soon as like the engage happened, at least he kicked back, he started running away. But he ran away from his team while retreating, letting him get kind of singled out there. When interest dies early on, it's not a good thing. Power of Evil and Gilius together have really good ways of diving the back line. No one else can really help that. But if it's enough, they're removing champions like Yuki from the game, and that's a bad place for Gamers 2 to be.
Removing champions like Yuki?
Yep.
Freaking Yuki. First pick Yuki every time.
Shh.
My favorite champion.
Champions like Yuki's. Hate you.
Morden,
he's gonna walk right into Vizichachi.
Nice
kick back, keeps him alive. That is a flash and 2 ults down, though. Unicorns of Love with the Baron buff can keep going. Hillsong tanks up some turret aggro, doesn't really care. He's got that Unbreakable on.
And now the siege begins. This 5k gold lead for Unicorns of Love. Are they going to transition into mid-game, late-game power spikes here with the Baron on them? They're ready to close this game out.
It looks like it's going to be a whole lot more for these guys. These team fights have not failed them yet. The double front line of Braum plus Maokai is holding up incredibly well.
Hey, remember last game when UOL put a bunch of wards around, they got themselves some objectives, then they took tier 2s around the left side, the right side, then they went middle. Then they just had a hard time cracking the base because of their comp. Now,
they're looking for those mid-game picks still, though, but Gamers 2 seem a little bit more aware of when they're overextended.
And now, Dragon's going to come up. Unicorns Love are going to pick it up for themselves. And really, Gamers 2 just aren't having the same success with Ocelot on the Lulu. And I remember, every time we see the Ocelot on Lulu, things don't usually turn out too well for the team. We kept saying we always want to see Ocelot on some type of playmaking support or a poking type champion. Sorry, playmaking mid laner.
Yeah.
Or poke mid laner. Like, those are the two types of champions that I think he excels the most on. Utility really just puts it on somebody else's shoulders, but I think Ocelot is best suited to shouldering the burden of his team.
I tend to agree. I think he does need to be on someone that can do a lot of damage and kind of do things by himself just a little bit. The addition of playmaking has tended to be very good for Gamers 2. We were talking about Rydell earlier in this game. I think that holds true for a lot of members here. JWoww, nice ward over the wall. Is going to spot out this red buff attempt. Just going to unleash that all the way down. Should be a pretty clean red buff grab. Borden takes a lantern away. Yuki kills what wards he can. Hillsong trades back, though.
Another ulti from Gilius here. Yeah, just using the ulti every time it's on cooldown.
He didn't even go for a very big cooldown build. It's very late cooldown boots.
And here's the thing, too, is if you look at his build, he is going for a little bit more damage, most likely because of the Maokai. He has the Pharaoh Flare already, and he's also got a Bilgewater Cutlass in his inventory. So he's looking for a little bit more damage than normal tank CDR red buffs.
Root doesn't quite land on a Rydell, but they're going to move in for this mid lane. Mid inhibitor is taking a lot of damage. Vizichachi got to be a bit careful. In comes Hillsong to keep him safe. They're just fine now. And yeah, it's also his second time for Sunfire for Gilius. He bought that last game as well, which actually made him a little bit squishy, actually. Sunfire, worse stats than Randuin's. He had died pretty quickly in team fights last time around. Vizichachi now again trying to help the wave clear coming out. Or he will still poking the flash hook. Rydell's going to miss that one. That was the way in for G2, and that's going to be not available for 4 minutes now.
It's really big. The playmaking from Rydell is what Gamers 2 have been relying on to keep themselves in this game and to win the last game. Now, looking at their comp, there really aren't a whole lot of options here. The persistent damage from Aurelia is going to have to continue to stack up. That's why he has the pickaxe, because he needs more damage in this comp. Then Morden, not that far in his item build. Ocelot's very supporty. And then Yuki still doesn't have his last whisper. He's getting to that point, though. I mean, he's around. Even Gilius is going to try to turn it.
Oh, they go to try to engage. There's a jump on in from Yuki, and the battle has begun. Look at that. Tristan in the back line. Yuki damage he can, but Power Reveal takes down Morden. The root lands on a JWoww. He's forced to flash away, but Rydell is stunned up. That is a 2-for-0. Great turn by Unicorns of Love. Vizichachi just barely survived.
Again, Vizichachi, every time he almost dies, he's just so low HP. That's going to reward Unicorns of Love with a turret and an inhibitor. They finally cracked the base here, and this might be just the path to victory for them.
There you go, Unicorns of Love. Vizichachi could easily have been 2-4-4, but instead it's 2-1-4, and they have been making good plays this game. 9,000 gold lead, blue buff steal as well. Unicorns of Love much better in control. It seems like team fights have been the name of the game in this series. The person who controls the tankier front line tends to win it.
He takes him all the way to the back line there, so Vizichachi almost dead, but he gets faced the mountain after he gets knocked away. Just very, very barely. Unicorns of Love, they look like they were retreating. So 4 of their members were saying, all right, we're back. And then Gilius just turns around with his ultimate, completely stealth, and the flash setup from Power of Evil, or at least to attempt to set up, was enough.
And Vizichachi getting the engage was just so massive, and to be honest, Yuki pulled him right into his team, where Vizichachi just absorbed all the damage, all the cooldowns, didn't really get hit down. And of course, Gamers 2 have even less threats, I would say, than Unicorns of Love did last game, and they couldn't kill Maokai either. And there's the attempt to engage one more time. Can they find it? The root's not going to land. Nice lantern for Yuki. The kickback is well going to knock into 2, but there's Vizichachi coming in onto Rydell. Power of Evil kites back successfully. That's going to be a dead Thresh, and the slow lands on a JWoww. They're trying the exhaust there as well. The stun's going to land. It gets layered on top, and JWoww will fall, making that 2 kills picked up for Unicorns of Love. And They are completely in control. Ward's still on Baron, but they might just want the base.
And there are 45 seconds on JWoww here. 10k gold advantage. They're going to try to push it here. Vizicsacsi goes in.
Goes greedy and gets the kill, though, onto the AD carry. Yuki goes down. Unicorns of Love now continue on for Nexus turret number 1 and 2. Looks like we're going to get the root onto Ocelot. That first one will fall. Morden doesn't have much to do for this one. 5 seconds on Thresh, and here comes the Vinya wave finally.
Vizicsacsi trying to drop the turret aggro. It's taking it forever, though. They get the turret. They're on the Nexus.
And that's going to be game. 35.5 minutes in. They kind of trade back and forth some damage, but they really just need to hit this Nexus down. There it is, 35-35. The Nexus blows up, and Unicorns of Love tie it up 1-1.
And that is such a huge testament to Unicorns of Love's skill, despite being 4-0'd by NIP over 2 series.
Yeah.
Talked about it. Their map movements are really good. They've had the early game advantage both times we've seen them in this series. And the fact that they just transitioned that into a win shows that they can close games out even faster than Gamers 2 did last game.
And it's cool because they're doing it in clever ways. It's this weird, like, double-edged sword. That's not the right term for it, but it's this weird, like, situation when you're closing games out in clever ways. One, it means you're clever, which is awesome. I love clever teams. It means they're smart, they think on their feet, and they're like, guys, we're going to run away. Yo, dog, pop stealth, turn around, we'll follow you. So cool. I love that. It's so fun to watch. It means they're a fun team to watch. They're going to do things like that all the time. That makes me like Unicorns of Love. The reason I say it's a double-edged sword, though, is it means they couldn't do it conventionally necessarily. Right? You're relying on tricks and these, like, tricky little maneuvers to make it work. And, you know, Gilius was on this not much CDR Rengar build. We saw his first 2 Rengar ultis fail. He got caught out in his own jungle after that one level 6 failed gank in mid where Morden caught him out. There are a lot of these sort of individual mishap situations. I mean, how many times has Vizicsacsi had to get away barely with his life before it doesn't work that one time and he actually goes down? Now, maybe it's calculated. Maybe he knows better than I do and he's like, no, I'll survive this. But there's just these little troubles where I'm like, if it went just that little bit different, that was a 2-0.
Well, Power of Evil, he's gotten picked off multiple times in the mid-game, which is a problem for them when their vision falls down. Gilius, he did get bullied around, but he went 1-1 and 8 in the end. And you're really talking about these gimmicks that teams have, where back in my day when I was playing like MMOs and stuff, when you face up against a gimmicky team, you'll lose to them once, you'll lose to them twice, but then they will never beat you again once you figure out, oh, that's the person who I have to go for. That's the person who is very squishy. Like, you kind of have to feel out the comp, and it takes you a while too. But in a best of 3 series, I don't know if Gamers 2 really have their number just yet.
Yeah, best of 3s are fairly short. You can kind of look at it one time. I think both teams realize that Maokai is rather important. The fact that UOL first picked it after realizing how strong it was after game 1, it's interesting to me because it's like you know you've been playing scrims, you know you've been practicing for this moment, and to not realize that Maokai was so contested, that G2 somehow got to grab the first pick Lucian and then come back and still grab this. Aurelia has fought well against Maokai, but has clearly not stopped the champion. I think you can't look at that matchup anymore. I think you have to look at how the series is playing out. That champion's got to get banned. It's going to lower the amount of UOL bans significantly because they're red side. They're still banning Kassadin. But you've got to remove that champion and say, okay, now fight us without super tanks. And then you have just an entirely new landscape.
Yeah, I want to see Rydell back on Alistar because the way he was playing that Thresh made it look like he wanted to just soak damage because he was always in the front line in the tanks. And I was just imagining that last fight, if he was an Alistar instead, because he was always in the front line, he was always taking so much damage. If he was, it may have been different for him.
It might have been, and it was still fairly close overall. You finally did get to the 3-item Tristana point. 274 minions was a great score as well. Actually, basically managed to keep an item lead over Vardog's Yuki. The problem was he didn't really have a front line. Morden, honestly, fairly held down. Only 8.6 thousand gold that game. Not a lot of global gold came in G2's way. And yeah, without having a real dedicated tank, Ocelot also being held down, but he didn't have much AP either. Not the big shields, not the big wild growths.
Yeah, the comp really relied on Yuki running away with the game early on, but he didn't get to that point. Or JWoww. If JWoww had actually killed Vizicsacsi those like 3 some odd times, that he got away, then that could have been a completely different matchup. JWoww may have had a 2-level lead on him, maybe even a 1-level lead, and then pushed it. But it was just really, really big if you can make that happen in top lane and create pressure up there where the jungler has to visit you, the mid laner wants to go up there, dragons start falling into your team's hands, just all these different things.
Well, you actually saw the top lane went UOL's way. Gilius got the first blood there, that gank. It was so incredibly close, but it was basically 200 free gold and an XP lead and a potion lead to visit Chachi in that top lane. And I was like, all right, cool. They both TP'd back. They both have double Dorans, but it's a 4 potion lead here for this Maokai. And like, that should have been the lane. You saw Morden revisit a couple of times to try to tip the favor, couldn't quite do it. You saw the battles from JWoww trying to go into the 1-on-1s, couldn't quite do it. Very nearly tipped.
Yeah, every time that Vizicachi gets away with really low HP, a Teemo dies. So it's basically all the time.
Wow.
It's all the time. Like the part where Morden let him get away because he wanted to give the kill over to his top laner. I don't know. Sometimes you just got to be a greedy jungler.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really unfortunate play. Like that should have been a kill by all rights to gamers too. Personally, if there's ever a glimmer of a chance that someone gets away, you just go for the kill.
Yeah.
Like you just
as a jungler,
really
yes, I always do.
Well, of course, because you're a selfish jerk.
Always do.
But even if you're playing for the team instead of yourself, I think you still have to go for that one and make sure it happens, because assist gold is way better than no gold, obviously. And again, this matchup could have flipped so many ways. The first game was almost an hour long. Obviously, these teams are very closely matched. And so you come in and you say, look, obviously both teams can win. One of these guys has to win game 3. And you say, okay, what's been the big factor here? What's been making it happen? Well, Rydell being a tanky guy who can pick. Like, his Thresh was good because he got picks mid-game. I would still be okay with him playing Thresh if I was Ocelot and I was doing the comps here for game 3, because it was still working, right? That was still a factor that was going well. The lane was going well. The Thresh seemed fine. Yuki, honestly, I felt like his his Tristana and his Lucian were fairly interchangeable. They were both strong in lane. Both team fought well. Ocelot, I think, he's having a hard time mid lane no matter what. I think he finds something with pick potential. Say, without gold, you're still useful.
Yeah, I feel like Ocelot excels when he's on some type of assassin, some type of, even wave clear mage or poker. But I don't feel like utility is the strong point for gamers too, because then it relies too much on somebody like Yuki or JWoww to run away with the game, when I feel like multi-threats work better for them.
I agree. I completely agree. I think 2-threat teams work when the threat you drop is a hyper tank, right? When it's a Mundo. I mean, Mundo's like a moderate threat. He's like a 0.5 threat, but something like a Maokai I think sits better than a Lulu, because he requires you to break through the front line first, and his damage reduction is so high he basically removes a threat from the enemy team. And so he puts you on a pretty good spot. Lulu, I don't think, has the same tank granting ability to do that. The weird thing is she's like more of a pick champion because you Whimsy and a Rengar or something.
Yeah.
But as far as a dedicated team fight goes, I don't feel like Lulu does that much.
Yeah, and a big thing here too is Power of Evil's kind of just been all over Ocelot all series. He will always start off 2-0.
Yeah.
As a Syndra in the mid lane. And then Ocelot will be like 0-2. And then he can't really farm as much. The farm difference here at the end of the game, 320 to 222.
Yeah.
100 farm difference in favor of Power of Evil. He's just been pushing Ocelot around in that mid lane and not letting him get the items he wants.
Yeah, and I think that might become now a ban for gamers too, because I think you are still able to first pick the probably Lucian here. I think the Maokai can be an expected ban, and I think you toss in a ban on the Syndra. I think you should try to free up Ocelot a little bit in this matchup. You probably keep the Yasuo ban you're putting on Power of Evil, but I think you add a Syndra ban here and drop one more for yourselves. You take the bans you took from the last game, remove Lucian from that list because you don't have to, and you put in Syndra, and that's the game plan for Gamers 2. Unicorns of Love, you remove that Maokai, and honestly, you hope Power of Evil still wins his lane without Syndra. I think that's the game plan.
Yep, I think that's what they should end up doing in Game 3.
Yes.
Final game for semifinal hopes.
If you lose, you're out. If you win, you move on. You got a pretty good shot at making it to the promo tournament. Guys, going to take a quick break before the third and final game between Gamers 2 and Unicorns of Love. Then, when we return, one will move on and the other will be eliminated from the playoffs. Find out who after this.
Get started right now.
Look on a Hillsong though, into the box as well. Nice play, the knockback from Trist as well. Nowhere for Braum to go, except back towards his team. They kill Morden, and he actually stays alive while Dragon goes down. And now JWoww's going to explode. Nice ulti comes out, but he's still alive actually. Finally goes down 1 for 0, 2 for 0 as the Tristana also falls. There's a jump on in from Yuki, and the battle has begun. Look at that, Tristana in the back line doing damage he can, but Power Fuel takes down Morden. The root lands on a JWoww. He's forced to flash away, but Rydal is stunned up. Coming in onto Rydal. Power Fuel kites back successfully. That's going to be a dead Thresh, and the slow lands on a JWoww. They're trying the exhaust there as well. The stun's going to land. It gets layered on top, and JWoww will fall, making that 2 kills picked up for Unicorns of Love.